when it comes to a sport like hockey or even basketball, I'll include that as well. But especially when we look at the Carolina Hurricanes, I don't try and look at like a game by game type thing in terms of, is this an indictment of what this team is on a game by game basis? You're playing 82 of these things. It's not like the NFL where I feel like we just overreact to a win or a loss and how it all happened. I try and look at trends. And even for football, I try and do that to an extent as well. So some things that have stood out to me for the Carolina Hurricanes. Recent trends. Special teams are good. Call it what it is. Special teams are good. Specifically the penalty kill. Going through Sunday's game against the New York Rangers, 24 of the last 24 penalties killed. It's phenomenal. That's absolutely outstanding. Now, it's also part of a couple things. One, penalty killers in front. If you're suppressing shots, clearing the puck out of the zone, doing all those things, well, guess what? You're not giving up scoring opportunities. But also the goaltending's been pretty phenomenal overall. So that's first thing. The second one, Graham, where'd Martin Necas go? Where did Martin Necas go?
He hasn't scored a goal, actually, since December 5th against the Avalanche.
It's been a minute. He only has 1 point in the last 5 games. 1 point in the last 5 games. And even if you look at some of the more specific things in terms of just the shots on goal, he had 1 shot on goal this past game against the Rangers. I say up to Sunday against the Rangers. Against Washington, 3 shots on goal. Against the Islanders, no shots on goal. Only 1 against Columbus, 3 against Ottawa. It's a little concerning for me. This was actually my concern for Martin Necas after the hot run that he was on. Is that, all right, what are you going to provide him when things get cold? Because we knew it was going to happen at some point. There's no way that he was going to be maintaining this 1.5 per game or point per game plus. There's no way he was going to maintain that. It's just simply hard to do. I mean, unless you are truly one of the top guys. And I'm talking the Nikita Kucherovs, the Connor McDavids, the Nathan McKinnons. Even they go through stretches where they're not putting up points. So yeah, Martin Necas has kind of gone cold a little bit. Like you mentioned, it's been since December 5th against Colorado with a goal. So you're looking at twice against the Islanders, San Jose, Ottawa, Columbus, Washington, Rangers, 7 games where he hasn't scored a goal. And over those 7 games, just 3 assists. He's also been a minus player. That's actually probably the most concerning thing to me. He's a -5 during those 7 games. Now, again, you look at his overall season numbers, still looking at 14 goals, 30 assists, +2 rating overall. But where'd you go, buddy? Where'd you go? Now, we have also seen a little bit of an uptick, I would say, from Sebastian Aho. Maybe that helps as well. Maybe that helps ease the pain a little bit, I guess you can say. Because you look at Sebastian Aho from Columbus on December 15th through the game against the New York Rangers on the 22nd, 3 goals, 2 assists total, and a +2 rating overall. That's good. Like, that's the kind of production that you want to see from Sebastian Aho. And also, if you look at overall, just over the last several games, if you actually go back to Thanksgiving, there's only been 2 games where he didn't register a point. He had points against Seattle, Colorado, the Islanders, San Jose, against Columbus, 2 against the Islanders again, against Washington, against the Rangers. 8 of 10 games, he's registered a point. 8 of 10. With 2 of them being multi-point games. So literally in the last 10 games, 10 points overall, which is good. Now, you still want to continue to add to what he's been doing, but he has stepped up his game quietly, has ramped up his game over the last couple weeks of the season, over the last month, which is what you want. And I think part of that is because of the way Rob Brind'amour has been shuffling his lines a little bit. Early in the season, we saw Jack Roslovic start off hot, like white hot, with the goal scoring, and he was skating on a line often with Sebastian Aho. Sometimes Svechnikov, sometimes others, depending on what the injuries were. Jack Roslovic was getting a lot of the goal production. Sebastian Aho early in the season was not scoring. Gosh, there was a stretch from Halloween, literally October 31st to November 13th, during that 7-game stretch where Aho didn't score. But now, you're starting to see the production come back from Sebastian Aho. Now, it's been a lot of assists, but over the last 4 games, you're starting to see goals come back. But you are starting to see production. Look, I understand people are going to say against the New York Rangers, it's an empty netter, blah, 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 blah. Guess what? You earn empty netters too. You earn those as well. But Martin Necas, not saying he has to be a point plus or a point and a half per game guy, Graham. He doesn't have to be that on a night in and night out basis. It's hard to do. But is it too soon, Graham, to start putting his face on the milk cart and be like, hey, Martin Necas, where'd you go?
I don't know. I mean, I think about Sebastian Aho went through this at the beginning of the season, even went through it last year. Seth Jarvis, too, went through it a little bit until he had the the 2-on-1 goal on the assist from Aho. So it's just a little bit of a slump maybe. But the good news with the Carolina Hurricanes in these most recent games is that you're starting to see their depth show a lot more as far as seeing guys like William Carrier score, Jacob Slavin, along with Jordan Stahl. I mean, it's good that you're starting to see some distribution kind of equal out around this roster right now. And you're not having to rely on Martin Necas, Sebastian Aho, Andrei Svechnikov, do it consistently night in and night out.
I'm with you on that. Night in and night out, being able to consistently find the back of the net or have other guys chip in and contribute.
But Jack Roslovic's starting to score again. That's good to see.
That's really great to see. He's also missing teeth now. So I don't know if anyone saw that on Sunday against the New York Rangers. Takes a high stick, literally has to go to the locker room, literally just spitting teeth out of his mouth, spitting chiclets.
Dude, man, credit to him. The toughness that he had to have to get his teeth chipped and then comes right back out and like a couple minutes later scores a goal for the Canes.
He's like, hey, I played for this team last year. Now y'all just high sticking me, taking teeth from me. But again, these are guys that are paid to be top guys. Again, I'm talking about Aho, Necas, Jesperi Kotkaniemi. Jesperi Kotkaniemi, if you look back since Thanksgiving, so Thanksgiving was November 28th. Since then, it's 2 goals, no assists. 2 goals, 0 assists.
Now, see, there's a guy that needs to take advantage of the moment with Jack Drury being out for extended amount of time.
Yes, absolutely. Jack Drury's out. Guess what? You get more minutes as a result. Jesperi Kotkaniemi. You get some power play time. Not a ton because you're not on quote-unquote top unit. But here's your chance, man. You are paid to be the quote-unquote number 2 center for this team. Or number 2 scoring center for this team. Because you all know how Rob Brind'amour feels about Jordan Stahl, right? Jordan Stahl's your shutdown guy. We all know it. Aho's your top guy. Who's next? Kotkaniemi. It's supposed to be you. But since Thanksgiving, 2 goals, no assists. Even go to the last 3 games. So if you look at the New York Rangers, Washington Capitals, the New York Islanders, doesn't even have a shot on goal in those games. Doesn't even have a shot on goal in those games. Go to the back-to-back right after Thanksgiving. You played against Florida at home, then you went on the road at Florida, didn't have a shot on goal. Play against Seattle, didn't have a shot on goal. Just looking at the last, again, since Thanksgiving, he's only cracked more than 1 shot twice. That's it. More than 1 shot on goal just twice during that stretch. You can't disappear like this when you are paid to be one of the top guys. You can't disappear. This team is counting on you. You got an 8-year deal with this team for a reason. The skill is there. You were the 3rd pick overall for a reason. The skill's there. Maybe this is the ebb and flow of a team. We all know it. Aho, as you mentioned, Graham, slow to start the year a little bit. Kotkaniemi actually was playing decent. Martin Necas was also scoring a bunch during that time. Necas has kind of slowed down, but then Aho's starting to come around a little bit. Andrei Svechnikov starting to come around a little bit. Seth Jarvis coming off the injury, maybe starting to come around a little bit as well. Then you also look at guys like Shane Gostisbehere, ramped back up. He was hot to start the year, had a little bit of a dip. He ramped back up. It's the ebb and flow of a team. But this is also a Carolina Hurricanes team that if you look at the standings in the league right now, and it's like, oh, well, it's still kind of early in the year. Well, guess what? The midpoint of the year is approaching. 33 games in. By the time the end of the calendar year hits, you're going to be looking at closer to that 40 mark. You're going to be hitting close to the midpoint of the season very soon. And these games where, for example, where you played the Washington Capitals on the road, that's a 4-point game. By 4 points, meaning if you win, draw closer. If you lose, it's 2 points for the other team, and you don't gain anything. 4 points. It's a massive difference. And sure enough, you play the same number of games as the Washington Capitals, and you're 5 points behind them. If you have won that game in Washington, you're sitting at 45 points. They're sitting at 46. So now it's a 1-point difference as opposed to 5 in the standings. So that's where you're sitting right now. This is still a really, really good hockey team. But in terms of points percentage, you're 3rd in the Metro. Slightly behind New Jersey Devils and obviously the Washington Capitals being that top team in terms of points percentage. Look at the conference as a whole. Yeah, you're 5th in the Eastern Conference in terms of points percentage. You're making the playoffs. You really are. But the last thing you want to have happen, you don't want to slip further and further down to where you're going on the road in the first round of the playoffs against the New Jersey Devils. Don't want to be doing that. Can this team all get on the same page at the same time? Pyotr Kochetkov played some lights-out goaltending lately. He really has. He's played some lights-out goaltending lately. Made 22 saves and some dandies against the New York Rangers on Sunday night. Can this team put it all together at the right time? Yeah, your top guys got to be top guys on a night in and night out basis, on a consistent basis. Not saying you got to be a point every single night, but your averages for your top guys need to be close to that.